Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be continuing our read through of this magazine, The Atlas of the Ancient World. I'm filming this the night before Halloween. I'm testing out the nails I'm going to wear on Halloween. They are much longer than I'm used to and very cheap. But I don't know. I kind of love them. It's hard to do everyday tasks, but I've been tapping on everything. I feel like LaDacia does public ASMR. Just check the nails. I'm going to be a very glittery mermaid this year, projecting my dream true form, being a mermaid. And I feel like these were the most mermaidy Halloween nails I could find. What do you think? Of course, you're going to see this long after Halloween, so, but oh well. Let's dive into this issue. Now, I, of course, like usual, have not read beforehand. I've read the titles of each page so that we can keep the theme, which tonight is Ancient Greece. So you'll see why that's important in a minute. So we're going to skip around this book a bit and talk about different aspects of ancient Greece. Okay, I can't see the viewfinder, so I hope that is in shot. Goodness gracious. 1 second, let me. Yeah, okay. As long as I keep it right there, it's good. Okay. Mediterranean Crossroads, starting with the Minoans. Of course, I've got the paintbrush here. Oh gosh, that's hard to tap. It's too thin. Got the paintbrush to brush the maps with. You guys love the paintbrush, and so do I. But I'm also probably going to be tapping the whole time because I have these long nails on. And I want to tap on everything. So it says, the first great seafarers of the Mediterranean were the Minoans. The lush hillsides of Crete yielded wine from grapes, olive oil, grain, and timber to build deep water vessels. Among the Minoans' trading partners were not only Greeks but also Egyptians, from whom they obtained ivory, gems, linens, and Nubian gold. At home, local rulers built lavish palaces and attended a distinctively Minoan event, bull leaping displays, which we can see down here. Yeah, on a lot of the walls of various palaces and ruins, we see them flipping over the bulls. And we're not quite sure why it happened, but nevertheless, they did something of the sort. We can't read their writing. But I just noticed that the bull's horns here and this person's arms are very precariously placed, aren't they? Very carefully placed. But oh well. Yeah, we don't know why, but it was a big part of their, I don't know, a big part of something that it's been depicted so distinctly on their artifacts. You know, it had to have some kind of importance or they wouldn't have drawn it. But yeah, I feel like that's like the Minoan's biggest claim to fame. The biggest claim to fame is the bull flipping, apparently topless. Let's see what the map says. It says Crete and the Greek mainland, with a central location on the fertile island of Crete and a fine fleet of ships. The far-ranging Minoans dominated Mediterranean trade routes for centuries. The Mycenaeans who followed them adopted many of their practices, as well as their shipping lanes, which it says that's this map here, reaching the shores of North Africa to the south and the coast of Sardinia to the west. So Mycenaean Civilization, it says circa 1550 to 1100 BCE is up here, and the Minoan Civilization, circa 2000 to 1450 BCE, is down here on Crete. we can see various centers here, towns, settlements. Good word, settlements. There's Khania, Phaistos, Knossos, Malia, Gurnia, and Zakros. And let's see, Minoan settlements up here are Castri on Cythera, Philocopy on Melos. We have Akrotiri on Thera, and Tigeni on Samos. Now the Minoan settlements, which include Castri, Philocopy, and that's it for overlap. They have Miletus on Anatolia, Grata over here on Naxos. Up in the mainland on the Peloponnese we have Pylos, Menelaon, Tiryns, and Mycenae. And then up more in central Greece here there's Athens, Thebes, Gla. Does it say Gla? Gla. It's Gla. And Orchomenos. Okay. I've never heard of Gla. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Gla. Okay. Let's see their trade routes. So the Minoans are on Crete. The Mycenaeans are up in Greece here. We can see the Thracians, Illyrians, the Italics, the Hittites, Canaanites, Egyptians, and what's that? Arzawans? The Arzawans, okay. So we can see trade back and forth from the Minoans up to Troy there. Over to these areas, to Rhodes, over to Ugent, Byblos, what's that say? Ascalon, okay, Avaris, and Mursa Matra down here in northern Africa. You can see all of these trade routes going all around the coast and all around Cyprus there. Heading down here and around through the Mediterranean up to Sicily, that says Thapsus. Up into Italy there, it's to Taurus. Over to Sardinia, you can see Cagliari there. Minoan and Mycenaean trade routes all over the Mediterranean into Europe, Asia, and Africa. Let's read about the palace at Knossos. It says, in 1894, Arthur Evans, an Englishman with a passion for antiquities, traveled to Crete to investigate the source of gems and seals he had found in Greek bazaars. Pottery sherds on the ground persuaded him to buy a 6-acre site at Knossos, where he embarked on excavations in 1900. Within months, Evans and his crew had uncovered the remains of a palace complex, pottery, stone, and metalwork, and colorfully frescoed walls in more than 1,000 rooms showcased the skill of the builders, whom Evans dubbed the Minoans for Minos, legendary Cretan ruler. And then it shows the restored north entrance of the palace here. Very beautiful. Very vivid colors. The maze like Knossos was erected around 2000 BCE, elegantly rebuilt around 1700 BCE following an earthquake, and overtaken by Mycenaean invaders around 1400 BCE. A central throne room dates from the Mycenaean era and attests that the invaders made the palace their own. Makes sense. Here's a big map here and diagrams about the Mycenaeans. Let me check the viewfinder here. Good, okay. The Mycenaeans. The Mycenaeans, who occupied the Greek peninsula from about 1600 to 1150 BCE, were organized into small kingdoms, each with its own hilltop fortress commanding surrounding farmlands. The most impressive of these strongholds was Mycenae, girded by stone walls. My goodness, bless you, kitty. Girded by stone walls, the only entrance was a gate beneath two magnificently carved stone lions. Opposite. Oh, I see them right here. Interesting. From their secure homes, the seafaring Mycenaeans raided and traded through the eastern Mediterranean. So let's look at Mycenae here. A diagram of the town, which we can see down here, this map. What are all these arrows for? Doesn't say, maybe it says up there, but here's the Lion Gate, a grave circle, I guess that's their graveyard, cemetery, and of course the cult center. You gotta have the cult center, not far from the citadel, over here. You can see there's definitely a walled area, and then they had like a village area surrounding it, probably all the farmland, and then that's the city, up on the hilltop. And then it shows Troy over here, but it looks like it talks about Troy over here. So let's see. The real Trojan War. Greeks of the classical era believed in the historical truth of Homer's Iliad, which describes a war between legendary Mycenaean king Agamemnon and the defenders of Troy. The war, as such, may never have occurred, but the remains of Troy have been found in northwestern Turkey. Separated by 250 miles, Troy and Mycenae were prosperous rivals. Troy commanded the Hellespont, a key link to the Black Sea. Historians speculate that conflict over trade routes, rather than Helen of Troy, may have sparked war. So let's see, that's the Lion Gate in Mycenae. Pretty picture there of it. The cool bricks and such. But here's Troy, and we have a map here. There's Troy. And there's like a zoomed out map over here where you can see how close Mycenae and Troy were. But look at this big walled city here. It looks like they have like a trench, like a big moat around it as well. There's the lower town, and you can see it rises up to the citadel area here. It says there's the Seion Gate right there. The wooden palisade over here, leading to that gate into the city. Wow, very heavily defended. I guess that's why they needed the horse to get in, right? Because you had to get through all this to get to this. How interesting. Possible route of Greek fleet. I see it now. So the Greeks traveled this way to Troy, but I guess also this way and up from Crete. Okay, I guess so. Now, we're going to read these pages next about Carthage. We'll read that next time, but we're going to read this other chapter tonight because it's also about Greece. Classical Greece, to be precise. There we go, classical Greece. It says, Greece's cultural blossoming came in the 5th and early 4th centuries BCE, a period known as the Classical Age. But Greek society traces further back, roughly to 800 BCE, when family-based tribes on the mountainous peninsula began organizing themselves based on the concept of the polis, or city-state. These city-states, notably Athens, became intellectual incubators. Many works of art and architecture are still with us, such as the statue of Laocoon and his sons, which is up here, or the sanctuary of Athena Pronaia in Delphi, which is over here. Equally long-lasting are the Greek contributions to science, mathematics, philosophy, and theater. Be impressed, I read all of that while my kitten was attacking the blanket that's on my lap. She's so cute. She's trying to like cuddle on it on the floor, but it's in my lap, so she's fighting it. you had no idea how that was happening. Anyway, look at this statue. I mean, like most Greek statues, it's very detailed. The men are super ripped. No detail is left out in this curly hair and beard. His thigh muscles, his toes. Looks like he's fighting a snake or something. I'm not familiar with his story, but there's people around like, whoa, a snake. Like, are you okay? And he's like, I'm gonna punch the snake. It's bam. Goodness, he's fighting a big old python or something. I don't know. That's if you know that story, drop it in the comments. I've never heard of that figure. But I do know Delphi, where the Oracle of Delphi was located, but this is a temple to Athena by the looks of it. Or the sanctuary of Athena. Or at least what's left of it. You can see the beautiful columns here. And some walls and the circular area. Very neat. It says the unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. Right. Next we have this huge map. And even a bigger map up here. So let's read the comments. Look, we've got columns up here. Ionian column. And Doric column. It says warring states. Arising from archaic city-states, the major powers of Greece went on to root the Persian Empire early in the 5th century BCE. Thus began a path to glory both brilliant and brief. Athens ruled the seas as head of the Delian League until a resentful Sparta declared war in 431 BCE. For 27 years, Greeks slaughtered and enslaved other Greeks in the bitter Peloponnesian War until Athens surrendered to Sparta in 404 BCE. Peloponnesian War. So let's see. Athens and the Delian League is purple. There's Athens here. And around here, there's Euboea. All up here into Thrace. All along here is all part of the Delian League. There's Troyes, Ionia. Down here looks like it's marked battles, but we'll look at those in a minute, I suppose. Independent allies of Athens are yellow, so you can see Thessaly here. These areas of Greece. Allies. Sparta and the Peloponnesian League is in this peach color. So down here, there's the Peloponnese. Sparta's right here. We have Boeotia, and Macedonia. Oh, look, there's Mount Olympus up here. Then the neutral states are in green. We have Epirus through here and Achaia. Looks like Crete as well. Then over here in Italy, Magna Graecia. That was part of ancient Greece back then, along with lots of areas of Sicily. The Athens Allies offensive is in blue, or purple, I guess. It looks more purple. And there is a lot. You can see the various battles, major battles of the Peloponnesian War are in yellow. So Chalcidice, I guess, is this area up here. There's the Battle of Spartolus. The battle up there. Goodness, these are very complicated names. But we see all of these purple arrows going up. Fighting battles. There's one right there. Arginusae, I think it says. Going down, and around. Looks like the Battle of Olpae right there. And sailing over to Sicily, Battle of Syracuse. Around to here. And the Spartan allies' offensives are in red, so attacking there. Going inland this way, and up there to Chalcidice. Up there, Battle of Amphipolis. Also going up here. It looks like sailing this way, and this way, and this way. What does that say? I'm not sure. But of course also defending Sicily as well. Major battles in the Persian Wars are red, so you can see Marathon, Thermopylae, Artemisium, Mycao, wait, not sure, I've never heard of those. But Marathon and Thermopylae are very famous battles. Thermopylae is the battle that the movie 300 is based on, and Marathon is how we get the word marathon. Because the distance running from Marathon to Athens to tell the Athenians the good news that they beat the Spartans is the length of a marathon. Let's see this map up here. I'm going to slide this down a bit. Archaic Greece. So Greek, goodness, I can't. There we go. Greek city-states. 750 BCE are in peach. So these areas here. Greek influence is in yellow, so we can see down in Cyrene and in Naucratis. And then up here into Gallia, there's Massilia. It's Marseille today. Along the Italian and Sicilian coast, and along the Spanish coast here, there's Tartessus. Colonizing communities are in white, so you can see them all in this area here. And just regular colonies are in red. All along there, up all along the Black Sea into Scythia. On all sides of each shore there. Up into what's today France. And Spain. And then none in Sardinia, but we got some up there. I wonder why they didn't touch Sardinia. It's interesting. Oh well. Egypt. I like that. And Numidia. Of course, they didn't touch Numidia. Probably pretty smart for that. Numidians would probably beat them up. Alright, one more page here about, I don't know, I haven't read it. The Parthenon. Make sure that you can see it, though. The Parthenon. After the Persian Wars ended, Athens entered a period of devotion to the arts, religion, philosophy, and architecture. This golden age was guided by the city's preeminent statesman Pericles, who emerged as a leader after the Persian Wars. He masterminded the building of the Parthenon between 447 and 432 BCE. The temple to the city's patron goddess Athena stands on the Acropolis, a rocky citadel turned sacred ground. Supervised by the sculptor Phidias, the graceful marble Parthenon is considered a high point of classical Doric architecture. Doric columns. Many of the exquisite sculptures and friezes that once filled it have been removed by foreigners, most notoriously the Elgin marbles, which Thomas Bruce, Lord Elgin, took in 1801 and sold to the British Museum, where they still are. Other portions of the temple have been destroyed by war and eroded by pollution. Even so, after 2,500 years, the Parthenon still stands on its hill above the ancient city. It's big columns here. I've already covered Athens on my channel in my series around the world, but I don't remember what I was reading, but I was reading about, I think it was like an article about tourist sites, and how like some of the most famous sites are like awful to visit. I think it was when I was reading about the Egyptian Museum, and this thing, I can't remember what it was. It was some article somewhere said like the Parthenon is the worst place to visit. It's up there with like the Eiffel Tower. Like, it's just always crowded no matter what, and you can't see anything because there's too many people, and it's super crowded and noisy, and I don't know. I would still very much like to go there someday, even if it's unpleasant. The Eiffel Tower, I visited it. It wasn't that bad, but the events surrounding that trip were far worse. I had a great time at the Eiffel Tower. Not so much after that, but that's a story for another day. I was in Paris on Bastille Day and saw the fireworks at the Eiffel Tower, so that was great. Everything else that day was a disaster. But it wasn't the Eiffel Tower's fault. And I don't think, like, this being a tourist disaster is the Parthenon's fault. It's clearly some kind of planning or something. But it's still very remarkable that it survived all that it's endured. At least it has survived, right? Let's read about the Persian Wars, it says. Gosh, I can't pick up the papers. In 499 BCE, Ionian Greek cities in Asia Minor rebelled against their Persian masters. Persia's king Darius I quashed the revolt and sacked Miletus, a prized Greek city. By 490, Darius's forces had made it to Marathon, where heavily outnumbered Athenian troops defeated them. War resumed in 480 under Darius's son Xerxes. At Salamis, the Athenian navy sank some 200 of Xerxes' ships, and Greek allies routed the Persians and emerged victorious. They didn't have Salamis on this map? That's like the famous battle. Would have been a sea battle. I don't see it. It's on this map. Salamis, right there. So, dark purple is the Persian Empire. All throughout Thrace and Lydia here in Asia Minor. Pro-Persian Greek states are in light purple, so we see Macedonia and Thessaly. Allied Greek states are in peach, so we have all this area down here. And the neutral states are yellow. Appears just apparently was always neutral over to here, but this area over here was part of the Allies. I wonder why, just this bit. Alright, major battles are in little explosions. So there's Artemisium, Thermopylae, Plataea, there's Marathon, and Salamis. And then the Persian fleet destroyed at Mycale over here. Persian ships sunk by a storm are right here and up here. That's unfortunate for them. Probably contributed to them losing. Alright, Persian forces are moving in, wait, purple, but I guess that's this one here. Yeah, I guess so. Over to Mount Athos, where their ship sank. And then route of the Persian fleet is in green. That's much easier to see. Going this way. Here we go. Around there. The land route of Xerxes, over here in red. Xerxes' Hellespont bridges there. Around this way. And up here as well. And the route of the Persian fleet is in blue. Wait, it's in blue. Oh, that's right. Oh, I see it now. Okay. Persian fleet is blue up here. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, looks like they sunk over here too. My goodness. They hit a lot of storms. Poseidon was not in their favor, was he? Down here, this talks about Pericles of Athens. It's a statesman, an admiral, and a patron of the arts. Pericles symbolized everything that made Athens great during its golden age. Born to a noble family, he was well educated and quickly rose to power, siding with the democratic faction in Athens against the more traditional leadership council. With the Persian Wars over, he led efforts to rebuild the city in a glorious fashion. A noted public speaker, he was famously hardworking and was said to have attended only one party in his life, leaving early. He sounds awful. Oh, he sounds so annoying. But he changed Athens forever, didn't he? In addition to his political roles, Pericles was a military leader. When war erupted with Sparta in 431 BCE and enemy troops began to attack outlying farms, Pericles ordered the population to take shelter within Athens' walls. In the overcrowded city, plague broke out, and Pericles himself was a victim. He died of the mysterious plague. I don't think we actually knew what it was that affected Athens. But we'll probably never know. But it was something, right? But I think that's it, because then it's going to go on to Alexander, and we'll talk about him another day. But that is it for tonight. This map is really cool. It's so big. The full page map of Greece. But that is it for tonight. Let me play with my nails a bit before I take them off. Thank you so much for watching. I think these are going to work for Halloween because they feel really cheap. They feel like they're about to fall off, but they've lasted, haven't they? Not bad for like $5 nails. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing because, like I said, we're going to talk about Carthage next. I just thought we'd lump all the Greek maps into one. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good